Let's talk about trash. It's a universal problem, right? A daily headache for cities pretty much everywhere. But what if the answer isn't just about finding a better place to dump it, but about totally redesigning our relationship with the stuff we throw away? Well, today we're looking at a really innovative blueprint from Sri Lanka that's trying to do exactly that.
To get a sense of just how big this challenge is, let that number sink in. Every single day, Sri Lanka generates at least 7,000 metric tons of solid waste. That is the weight of over 1,000 elephants, piling up day after day after day. And it's all being driven by rapid urbanization and a growing population.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. The problem is incredibly concentrated. Just one single region, the super densely populated Western province, is producing almost 60% of that entire national total. As you can imagine, this has completely overwhelmed the infrastructure, turning what should be a manageable issue into a full-blown crisis.
So let's dig into that crisis, because the issue isn't just about the sheer volume of trash. It's really about a system that's completely broken down, and that's created this vicious cycle of public frustration and environmental damage. It's a failure of logistics for sure, but maybe more importantly, it's a failure of trust.
And right at the heart of this problem is this massive missed opportunity. I mean, look at this. In Sri Lankan cities, a staggering 72% of all the waste is organic. We're talking food scraps, yard trimmings, all stuff that could be turned into incredibly valuable compost. But right now, most of it is just rotting away in open dumps.
So why is all this potential literally going to waste? Well, it's because the system itself is fundamentally unreliable. Only about 37% of city centers even have official waste collection. And the schedules? They're totally erratic. So even when people try to do the right thing and separate their recyclables, their efforts are totally undermined when the truck just doesn't show up.
This quote from the source material really captures the public's perspective perfectly. People aren't being malicious when they dump or burn their trash. It's actually a pretty rational response to a system that's failing them. When the official service is a no-show, they're forced to find their own solutions, just to keep their homes and their neighborhoods clean.
But what if you could rebuild that trust? What if you could actually design a system that works for everyone involved? This is where our story takes a really hopeful turn. Let's look at this new proposed model called the Mihisaru Circle. It's a blueprint designed to fix this broken cycle from the ground up.
Now, before we get into the nuts and bolts, we have to understand the big idea behind it, the circular economy. This is a huge shift in thinking. Instead of the old take, make, dispose system, a circular model aims to keep those resources in use for as long as possible. Basically, waste stops being waste and becomes a resource.
So the Mihisaru Circle is built on 4 really clear pillars, and this is going to be our roadmap for the rest of this explainer. First, you've got to re-engage people with incentives. Second, you build a reliable backbone with smart technology. Third, you make the whole thing economically viable. And fourth, you create a sustainable market for the stuff you produce.
Okay, let's start with Pillar 1, because any system like this has to start with people. I mean, how do you convince households to get back on board and start separating their waste again, especially after their trust has been totally broken?
Well, the answer is you give their effort a clear, tangible value. The proposed Mihisaru Points system does exactly that. For every kilogram of separated waste they turn in, households earn points. And check this out. More valuable or hazardous materials like plastic and e-waste earn even more points. And then they can cash these points in for real rewards. A discount on groceries, a voucher for a local restaurant, or even a donation to a school. All of a sudden, sorting your trash has a direct, personal payoff.
Okay, so you've got people motivated. Awesome. But that motivation is going to vanish pretty quickly if the garbage truck still doesn't show up on time. So let's move on to Pillar 2 and see how technology makes the entire system reliable.
The transformation here is just night and day. The old system, is all about irregular schedules and basically zero data. The new system uses a mobile app for on-demand pickups and uses AI to create the most efficient collection routes. It completely replaces guesswork with hard data and unreliability with transparent, predictable service.
And this is the toolkit that makes it all possible. You've got a user-friendly app for residents, QR-coded bins that link the waste directly back to the right household, IoT scales on the trucks to automatically weigh everything and award the points, GPS trackers for the fleet, and even AI at the main facility to help sort materials more efficiently. Each piece works together to create this seamless, accountable system.
So the system is smart, it's reliable, but can it actually pay for itself? That brings us to our final 2 pillars, which are all about turning that collected waste into real economic value and making the whole model self-sustaining.
Now, a truly sustainable system also has to be socially just, and this is so important. Instead of displacing the informal waste pickers, who are already the quiet heroes of recycling in so many places, this model brings them into the formal system. It gives them stable wages, safety equipment, and recognizes their incredible expertise. It's what you'd call a just transition.
So, does it all add up financially? Well, yeah, there are upfront investment and operational costs, but the benefits are huge. And it's not just the direct revenue from selling compost and recyclables, it's also the massive avoided costs. Think of all the money saved on landfills, on public health issues, even on disaster relief from things like flooding caused by clogged drains. But to get that revenue, the system has to sell its main product, compost. And that's a real challenge, because farmers in Sri Lanka are pretty understandably skeptical after some past policy failures. So the solution is to treat compost like a premium product. It gets rigorous quality certification, it's marketed under a trusted brand name, and it's paired with education programs to show farmers how to get the best results. You have to earn that trust back.
So, when you connect all these dots, you realize that the Mihisaru Circle is so much more than just a better way to collect trash. It's really a blueprint for urban renewal. It's an economic engine that links households, tech startups, informal workers, and farmers into one big, self-sustaining, regenerative loop.
And that kind of brings us to our final thought here. This whole model is built on one simple but incredibly powerful idea, that waste is not worthless. It's just a resource in the wrong place. And that leaves us with a question that applies way beyond Sri Lanka. If our waste really does have value, can any of our communities truly afford to just throw it away?